We're Mike and Sharon.
We're usually two-lane travelers, but this time a plane took us to our newest destination, Scotland.
And we want to share our adventure with you.
This video includes some great Scottish highlights, historic battle and burial sites, beautiful castles and castle remains, statues of the famous and infamous, lots of locks and locks and what the difference is between them, stories of time travel and murder, and incredible scenery.
This video isn't a full guide, just what worked, what didn't, what we would do differently, and what we wouldn't change at all.
Our overnight flight landed at 8 a.m. Edinburgh time, which was 3 a.m. our time. We couldn't check into the hotel for 7 hours, so we were a bit out of sorts.
Once we had a meal and settled into our hotel, we did fine. The rest of the trip went much more smoothly, and we immediately began to visit and enjoy the highlights that Scotland has to offer. Our trip would cover 10 days with a 3-day stay in Edinburgh, then on to the Highlands with stays in Pitlochry, Nairn, and Fort William, before returning to the lowlands in Glasgow. That would be our final stop before returning to the airport in Edinburgh and then flying home.
We'll get into much more detail on our upcoming videos about Scotland, but here's a quick overview. In Edinburgh, the Royal Mile Tour was a fabulous and very interesting experience. Edinburgh Castle is an incredibly popular tourist site. We also ate in our first Scottish pub there. We loved the big city energy blended with incredible history.
Next, we headed for Pitlochry in the Scottish Highlands with several stops along the way. We arrived at Blair Castle just in time to hear the bagpipes being played. Lunch at the House of Brewer was like a Bass Pro Shop with Ralph Lauren vibes and a great cafeteria. Next was Queen's View, the first of many spectacular sights in the Highlands. In Pitlochry, we visited the dam and salmon locks, then had dinner at a quaint-looking restaurant called the Old Mill.
The next day we headed further into the Highlands through Inverness, with our final destination that day being Nairn. We first visited Cairngorm Reindeer Center. Next stop was the stupendous Cairngorm Mountain with its stunning views as far as you could see. Then we had lunch at the wonderful number 27 restaurant in Inverness. After lunch, we visited Fort George, which our driver described as the perfectly designed military fortress. We arrived at our final destination at the Muthu Newton Hotel in Nairn. We had dinner at Chaplin's Restaurant on site, named for their most famous guest. We ended the evening by walking out and petting the hairy cows called Highland coos. Day 2 in Nairn began with the mysterious Clava Cairns, said to be a 4,000-year-old cemetery and time travel portal if you're a fan of the TV show Outlander. Next came the Culloden battlefield, where a 30-minute battle changed the culture of Scotland forever. We then visited the beautiful Cawdor Castle and Gardens. As we entered the grounds, we were told we had just missed the Dowager Countess Angelica Campbell, who still calls the castle home. All of our stops made for a long day, but dinner at the Sundancer restaurant and watching the sunset over the North Sea was a relaxing way to end the day.
The next day, on our way to Fort William, we had several stops. First was a cruise on the famous and beautiful Loch Ness. Sad to say, no sightings of Nessie, the Loch Ness monster, were to be had. This cruise included a visit to the ruins of Urquhart Castle, where we spent an hour wandering the grounds in and around the ruins. Next came lunch in Drumnadrocket at the Fiddler's Highland restaurant. Perhaps our most unusual stop was not on our itinerary, but was suggested by our driver. It was a monument called the Well of the Seven Heads. The story behind it is fascinating, but you'll have to wait until one of our future videos to hear it and to hear why I didn't enter the well house. In another unplanned stop, we visited an engineering marvel called the Banavie Locks, where a series of 8 locks raise or lower passing boats 64 feet between rivers. We arrived at the Garrison Hotel in Fort William. It was opened as a police station in the 1950s, which included 6 cells. From there, we walked a short distance into town to have dinner at the Ben Nevis restaurant. Ben Nevis, by the way, is the name of Scotland's highest mountain.
Glasgow would be our target for the next day, but we spent the better part of the day traveling through the stunning scenery of Glencoe. We didn't get to stop at the ruins of Kilhorn Castle, but we got to see it from a distance. This was followed by a stop in the village of Luss on Loch Lomond, where we could walk around the shores of the beautiful loch and also had a chance to see a Viking grave. We technically weren't staying in Glasgow proper, but near the town of Blantyre, where we got to spend the night in Crossbasket Castle. So we spent our anniversary night in a real castle and had a great dinner in the Trocadero restaurant in the adjacent hotel.
Our travel agent didn't plan anything for us in Glasgow, so we were on our own. We thought the easiest way to see the city was via the hop-on, hop-off tour bus. We were able to visit the Kelvin Grove Museum. It was one of the most impressive art museums we have ever been in. Afterwards, we had an amazing lunch at the Ox and Finch restaurant as part of our time in Glasgow. Then we finished the night with dinner at a wonderful little Italian restaurant called D'Antonio's in the town of Hamilton.
Scotland is not all haggis and porridge. We had some great meals including fish and chips, shepherd's pie, steak and ale pie, potato gnocchi, and lemon sole that Sharon was able to expertly fillet off of the bone. And by the way, I like porridge, which is better known as oatmeal in America. And my 2 meals with haggis, which is used in creative ways, were pretty good too. The food was mostly good to excellent, but some of the restaurants were special for other reasons as well. Our first meal in Scotland was a sharing plate at the Red Cockerel in Edinburgh with its unique outdoor setting. The Doric Tavern in Edinburgh is a wonderfully historic place claiming to serve the best shepherd's pie in Edinburgh. I can't confirm that categorically, but I promise you it was delicious. Other unique pubs in Edinburgh include Maggie Dixon's and Deacon Brodie's Tavern. The Sundancer is a beautiful upscale restaurant on the North Sea in Nairn, where we had an amazing meal and an even more amazing view.
Favorite stays on our journey included beautifully elegant Bonham Hotel in Edinburgh. The Craigmore Lodge in Pitlochry was comfortable and situated on a short walk from town. The Crossbasket Castle was a real castle and a very special place to spend the night. In retrospect, there are some things that we got right on our trip planning. First, using a travel agent took the guesswork out of our planning process, and she solved a couple of problems along the way that weren't even her fault. Shout out to Trippin' with Trita. Hiring a driver, which was Trita's idea, was a huge part of why our trip was so enjoyable. It made for a stress-free trip with tons of local and historical knowledge thrown in as well. Mixing in history with quirky and modern stops kept things interesting for both of us. Staying in upscale hotels was more expensive, but the rooms were very comfortable, and a nice breakfast was always included to start our day.
There are also some things that we would do differently in hindsight. I think we would have seen more great spots in Glasgow if we had a scheduled itinerary, maybe a walking tour rather than the hop-on, hop-off bus. Packing lighter would have made things easier. We both had shoes and clothing that we never wore. I also packed camera equipment that never left the bag. Flight preparation could have been better, both coming and going. We probably should have tried harder to find a way to fly out of our local airport.
Don't overschedule the itinerary. Some of our favorite stops were unplanned. As for the weather, be ready for 4 seasons in a day and always have rain gear handy, even when there isn't a cloud in the sky. Be prepared for unhurried service in restaurants. Mealtimes in Scotland seem to be very leisurely events.
We hope you enjoyed this brief overview of our first visit to Scotland. We'll dive deeper into Edinburgh, the Highlands, castles, food, and even the quirky side of Scotland in upcoming videos.
If you're planning a trip to Scotland, stick with us. There's a lot more coming.
And if you enjoyed the video, click the like and subscribe buttons. As always, thanks for watching.